So I'm going to introduce you to the basics of After Effects. And so After Effects is sort of the big monster of all of the Adobe products in my mind. It's the one that's maybe the most complicated. It's the one that's got the most sort of buttons and twirl downs and all that kind of stuff. And so it can get really overwhelming. So don't despair. Just kind of pick out little tiny things you're trying to do and learn how to do them. And don't worry about the overall big picture until you kind of get a little bit of experience going on with using it. So there are all these, it's just like every other Adobe product we've looked at so far. After Effects has the menu bar up here, right, where you can go up and sort of pick things that you want to deal with. It has a toolbar, and usually the toolbar is up here at the top. You can set your workspace to be in a different arrangement if you want to. And then it has all these palettes, but unlike in Photoshop where all the palettes are like stashed really nicely along the edge here, these are just spread out all over the place. And there's all these different workspaces you can choose. So you can go, animation, and it's going to give you a specific kind of setup that you can use. If you do effects, it's going to give you that one. If you're trying to do things like minimal, it's just going to give you the bare minimum and not give you all the extra ones that are going on out there. I usually will use like paint. That's the one that I kind of tend to use the most. And so, pick whichever one you want to, but just kind of know that my screen might look a little different than yours. But anytime you're looking for a palette, you just can't figure out where did that thing go. I know there's one. You can always look under Window. And just like in a Photoshop and Illustrator and everything else, there are all these spots where you can go and like click on one. So if you want to figure out, I wanted to add type, you can just click on the character one or the paragraph one, and it'll bring all of that stuff up for you. And so you can see it. You can also stack things together if you want to, just like you can in all the other Adobe products. So you can arrange this however you want, and then if you get a workspace you like, you can always create a new workspace and just save it, and hopefully it'll still be there when you come back to work again. The lovely thing about After Effects, it has a lot fewer of these up here, so it's got a lot fewer tools. It's just kind of a simpler project or product. And then down here is the timeline, which again you can kind of like make it bigger or smaller. Timeline is what you're going to spend the most time on. I always like to kind of maximize the amount of space I have for the timeline. And really professional editors and people who do this will have like 2 or 3 monitors with everything spread out all over all those places. But we're just going to get by here with what we've got. So what we want to do is we want to just go ahead and set up our composition. So unlike in Photoshop or other things, you don't really work on like a single file necessarily. Like you have a whole project that you're going to work on here. So if you go in here and go File, you go Save As, you can just click on the Save As button. And again, you want to pick your place that you're going to put that. So I'm going to go, I have a folder I have all of my files in. And just like in Illustrator or InDesign, it's a linked base program. So that means that you have to make sure that you keep your items linked. So it's really important that you pick out a folder, you keep all the files you're using in the project in the same folder, and you never move them. So I've just done this thing where I make the bird animation folder, and then I'm going to place this After Effects project in there. I'm going to keep all the footage, everything I may or may not use for that project in that bird animation folder. So I'll call this, bird animation, and then I'll just click Save. So it's just going to save this whole, everything I do into this project now is going to all be saved under that thing, and just keep hitting Command S, file save throughout. It'll just make sure it's saving stuff for you. So, so that's the basics of how to kind of set up and start thinking about using this. What you'll want to do for our project is work on building a composition, which I'll take you through that tutorial next.